Hi, this is Mike from thesubstream.com, and this is an episode of Watch This Instead for the week ending Friday, the 22nd of May, 2009. And I want to talk today about a movie called Terminator Salvation, or how it should be known, Terminator 4. It's the fourth Terminator. Call it Terminator 4, Terminator Regenesis, Terminator The Legend of Chun-Li. Just call it, it's the fourth movie. Call it the Terminator 4. It was directed by a guy named McG. The fourth Terminator film, it's not getting very good reviews from anyone, and I'm not going to give it a very good one either, because it's not a very good Terminator film. It's an okay, if quite stupid, action film. Huge, cool explosions and buildings falling down and cool big robots, but it's kind of got nothing to do with the traditional Terminator film franchise. And for me, what made the first two films, and to a lesser extent, I guess, the third work, is three things. And the first is the oldest, most classic of sci-fi tropes, that of the intense anxiety one can feel when faced with something that can appear to be human but isn't. An alien inhabiting human skins. See Invasions of the Body Snatchers or see Alien. This is a very powerful idea, and it makes for a really palpable sense of dread, especially in the first and second film. The second thing that makes these films work is that they always were stories of regular old humans on their own versus an absolutely insurmountably powerful opponent. One that's not only an artificially conscious machine that's made out of steel, but one that's from 30 years in the future with all kinds of technology that we don't know now. Versus, two people running away in the desert. And that person that they were fighting, the Terminator, whether or not it was Arnold or the polymimetic alloy from Terminator 2 or whatever Christiana Loken was from Terminator 3, they never stopped, they never slept, they were relentless, they were heartless, they would kill anyone that got in their way because they were mechanical and they had one goal, and that was to kill Sarah Connor or John Connor to end the war or whatever. That sense of being completely overwhelmed and not having any way out of it. The third thing that made it work, what was the third thing? The third thing that made it work, at least the second and third films, was Arnie. The dude, say what you want about him as his skills as an actor, but he's got charisma, and he's a funny dude. And some people didn't like the second film after the first one, because Arnie went from being a cold, unstoppable killing machine to a kind of pop culture phrase-spouting goofball, and that got even worse in the third, but that at least made the films kind of acceptable. As ridiculous as the premise was and as over-the-top as the action was, it was all kind of undercut by a warm current of charisma and humor. All three of those things disappear in the fourth film. They're no longer completely overmatched by technology because they fly around in A-10 Warthogs and blow the shit out of Terminators regularly. Skynet's no longer a menacing, unstoppable force that just presses its foot down relentlessly on two or three scared people in the desert. In fact, in Terminator 4, there seems to be kind of a détente. With Skynet off in San Francisco and the human resistance off somewhere else by themselves, they kind of just have skirmishes but leave each other alone. So all of that sense of dread is taken out. And the main character that's supposed to kind of convey the anxiety about identity that was conveyed by Arnold in the first film, Arnold in the T-1000 in the second film, and Christiana Loken in the third film, is in the hands of this guy, the character of Marcus Wright, who's a half-human, half-robot hybrid that is so completely uncharismatic that I found it really hard to care about his story at all. All three of the things, and also there's not a single joke in the whole film. The film is directed by McG, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. If you didn't know it was directed by McG, you can wait until about 6 minutes into the film when, out of nowhere, there's a title card all by itself that just says, directed by McG. So what should you watch instead? Watch a movie from 1995 called Screamers, directed by a guy named Christian Duguay from a short story by Philip K. Dick. This was, I guess, before Philip K. Dick got really hot again and became a pop culture commodity, when you could pick up one of his short stories to turn into a movie for peanuts, because I think that's what they did. The movie's not very good, but it does have one thing going for it that Terminator 4 doesn't, and that's a deep sense of creeping dread about the very issue that the first three Terminator movies were more or less about. Alien, mechanical, heartless killers posing as human beings. I think the guys have to smoke cigarettes to stop them from getting cancer, So that's how you know it's science fiction when that happens. It's got that good, creepy, nasty, who is my friend, who is my enemy thing, who can I trust thing going on that was what made Terminator 2, 1, and 3 kind of worth watching. And that McG, who directed Terminator 4, forgot to have in his film. It's not spectacular, but it is creepy in a really cool way. And that's all, I guess. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Is that all right?